Hello, welcome to Undisputed Boxing. We're here to review last night's card. Well, the top two fights. Josh Warrington made a comeback against Mauricio Lara at featherweight. Obviously, this was supposed to be just a tune-up fight before he goes into the big fights against either Kanzu or Gary Russell Jr. And then we're also going to review Zelfa Barrett versus Kiko Martinez. Rick, you've lost the beard. Looking a lot tidier this week. What did you make of it last night?
It's freezing here in England, but the masks you have to wear in the shops are kind of make it difficult to keep the beard. It's a bit scruffy. Well, let's start up through the card or the Kiko Barrett fight. I mean, I thought the card was good because of everything that went on. It's entertaining. All the fights were quite good because I saw the ones. The Barrett Kiko fight was pretty good. Kiko was forcing the pace. Barrett looked good in the first round, and then it seemed to sway towards Kiko being the most aggressive, and you could see it was a step up for Barrett. And Kiko just kept coming forward, and even though he's been around a bit, he's still, you can see his levels and that, and he's aggressive, but he knows what he's doing defensively as well. He knows how to kind of put good movement, and it'll throw punches and evade punches quite well. I mean, the big talking point of the cards, really. I know we spoke this morning. I said just make sure that you're scoring it when you watch it. I scored it, but then I wanted to watch the first three rounds again this morning just to kind of check on a few things. And basically, I had Barrett winning the first round, and then the final four rounds, meaning that it was 5 rounds to 7. Mm-hmm. Some of those were tight, so I can see how someone may have given it slightly towards Barrett. So someone had said Barrett's just won. I didn't agree, but it wouldn't have been ridiculous. But some of the scorecards that came out, there was 2 that were awful. 2, I think, gave key rounds or something, and a draw round. And it's just a bad luck when that happens, and by 2 judges as well. So I know a lot of the fight got stolen because of that. I don't know what view on the cards were. Did you score it in the end?
I did, yeah. It's weird because obviously I knew the result, and I saw on Twitter there was quite a lot of outrage on the fight, and the scorecards. But I tried to be as objective as possible, and I'm not trying to be kind of controversial or sort of argumentative. But I definitely didn't see 118, 111, but I scored it 7-5 to Barrett. So I gave Barrett the first, I think, 2 rounds, and then I think Martinez was a lot stronger in the middle part of the fight. But I thought, sort of on the back foot, I thought he was landing the more sort of cleaner work. I thought Martinez actually had a hard time, cutting the ring off at times. He was definitely a lot more aggressive, and he did catch Barrett a lot. But if you look at Kiko Martinez's face at the end of the fight, he was catching him. It's one of those where if somebody would have had 7-5 Martinez, I probably wouldn't have. I would have been because it was a very, very close fight. I didn't really see robbery, but I definitely didn't see 118, 111.
I had Kiko winning 7-5.
Right. Yeah.
So
I had it the other way.
7-5 Barrett.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I can see it because some of those rounds are quite were tight. But I think Kiko, he definitely tied as well, Kiko, because he from about round 9, 10, he dropped off the pace. And I think, if he could have kept that pace up, I think he would have been a clear winner. Yeah. Well, I say that, I don't know, in my eyes, he'd have been a clear winner. I'm not sure about the judges. But yeah, it's never great when all the questions after a fight and the interview about the scoring. And it's strange because you online and it shows what little people know, and they're all blaming Eddie Hearn, going, "Oh yeah, Eddie, you need to sort it out." Actually, it's the British Border Control, and you get some people saying, "Oh, nice envelopes there, just so your boy wins." It's like, why would, if Hearn is doing that, why would you do it for someone like Zelfa Barrett? It's not a big issue if he gets really.
Yeah, I take issue with that, and I also take issue when people start having to go at Zelfa Barrett. It's not his fault. He fought hard, did the the camp, and worked incredibly hard. Put in a great. I thought he put in an all right performance. I think one of his problems. I mean, he throws some beautiful combinations. His jab and his footwork. His left hook to the body. He was doubling up on the jab as well, which I thought was really good. Jab to the body. He didn't have the power to really kind of keep him off. I think that is his problem. He doesn't quite have the power. But I think overall it was an okay performance. But I don't know if I'd be that bothered about a rematch. I think time some time will pass, and I think you just move on from it really.
He looked open to the left hook a lot. I thought, but he kept getting hooked, kept being clipped by it.
Yeah, well, he got cut on his right eye, didn't he?
Yeah, but he kept getting caught, and it's almost like he was getting timed throwing his right and then getting caught with the left. So again, it's good learnings for him because he's only 22.
Yeah,
good learning fight.
Yeah, I'm still not gassed out on
the main event.
I think he's got a lot more to prove, and Kiko Martinez is pretty, he's weathered. He's like 34. I mean, when did he get beat by Scott Quigg and Carl Frampton? It's like 6 or 7 years ago, wasn't it? Maybe longer.
Was that Scott Quigg fight? So yeah, it's quite a while ago. And you can tell his body as well. He just looks like his body's a bit, just looks not unfit, but he just looks it's an old body now. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
Not like we can talk.
Speak for yourself.
The main event. So we both look a bit stupid, but I imagine everybody in boxing, because I don't think anyone would have predicted that. But when did you start to worry?
Well, I mean, the first round, actually, because Lara rocked him. I don't know if he rocked him in the first fight, but he caught him clean. I mean, look, Josh Warrington, he is quite open, and he loves to fight on the inside. He loves to trade, and that's how he kind of beat Frampton and Lee Selby in a way. He kind of brought them down into sort of his kind of fight, and that's how he likes to fight. But he's always had a granite chin. That is one of his strengths. He's got a really good chin. Maybe not the most skillful boxer, but he is heavy-handed despite his low knockout ratio. But yeah, I mean, the first round, I started to worry. I thought this is going to be a rough night, and I think it's potentially a combination of a lot of things, and it's almost kind of the perfect sort of cocktail. No crowd, which is obviously something that he's used to. The ring, inactivity, 15 or 16 months or whatever it was. And also, I think something that I haven't seen many people sort of comment on, but he's been fighting at featherweight for most of his career, like almost 11 years at featherweight. He's had a few fights. I checked on BoxRec. He's had a few at sort of catch weight at like 128, 130. But, maybe that's a factor. Did he do the weight right? Because the fact that he got rocked easy and he does usually have a good chin would suggest to me that he's either kind of struggling to make that weight now, or he didn't make the weight right. But it was I think down in the fourth, and then I think against more superior opposition, going down in the fourth, a better fighter would have finished the job. And I think a combination of Lara, maybe his lack of experience, lack of quality, because I thought he was quite slow. The referee, giving him a lot of the benefit of the doubt, and he was able to kind of survive. And even in round 5, he didn't look great. His feet weren't great.
No.
What do you think?
I'll be honest. I was after round, because I think in our video I said I think it will be between 4 and 6. And after that first round, and I was more focusing on Lara. I remember thinking, he looks slow. He doesn't look good class here. It might be even earlier than this. But I did acknowledge that Warrington didn't quite look right. But I thought, it's just gauging him, kind of thing. And he did, you're right, he did get caught in the first. I think in reality, what happened is he got caught in the first and he probably was like, Christ, I've not felt that before. And he got put him into a bit of a weird state, I think, of should I go for it, should I not, how should I fight, you know? And I think sometimes you just come across someone who is just all wrong for you. And that may be the case, along with some of the other things that you've mentioned, because I do buy in that I think there's a few other things going on. One thing that more up for the fight 2 days out. When we were talking about it last week, I was like, oh yeah, you know, watch the fight and that. But I watched a little bit of the build up, the bubble and all that stuff. And I started not fancying Lara, but just thought, actually, this might be a bit of a better fight than I thought, because just the way he was holding himself. But then there was an interview that Warrington did, and he was like, he was holding his chin and he was going, yeah, he looks like he's really confident. He's come here to fight. He goes, you know, I'm having to get my mind into the fact this could be a big, you know, could be a tough fight now. Actually, I'm getting myself into that mindset. And I was worried when I heard that, because I thought, you can't do that now. Your mindset, it's going to be a tough fight. It's going to be in the gym. Yeah. You know, when you're going through your camp, not a day out or 2 days out. I don't think you can turn it on. So there's some of those things. But yeah, I mean, I think after the second and third, I was like, he doesn't look right here. And there was little pockets of it that reminded me of the Joshua fight against Andy Ruiz. Just something didn't seem to look right. And then obviously he got poleaxed in the fourth and never really recovered. And you're right, you know, I thought he was going to get waved off. When he stood up and he was still like that, I thought he's going to wave it off. And incidentally, I was getting a lot of stick, and he's the ref that called George Groves too early. And a lot of people are giving him stick, going, "Oh, you waved George Groves off, and now you've done that." Well, he probably did that because all the stick he got from George Groves, you know, and that's saying, "Oh, you didn't let the fight go on," and so he did. But there's arguments to say his corner should have brought him out. But yeah, I mean, after that, he got his legs back a little bit, but then they just seemed to go again. It was almost like he never did recover. And I'm worried about the rematch. I actually think it's a bad rematch to go into, because unlike Joshua, who basically thought, "Oh, I'll trade with this guy," and got caught and never recovered either, Joshua had another way of boxing and he found a way to beat him. I'm not sure Warrington knows another way or can do another way. Now, he probably, if he's really disciplined, he can outbox Lara, because Lara's very slow. But I think he'll end up getting brought into a war and he could get caught again. So it's one of those where I'd be more worried about Warrington than I was about Joshua, and that I am about White winning a rematch.
Yeah.
What's your view on
that? I wouldn't be in a rush to get a rematch. It is really difficult to see where it goes from here. I know that when people say when they've had one defeat, people can ridicule when they say, "Well, I think he's maybe done." I'm not saying he's done by any stretch, but I also think the manner of the defeat is important. If he lost it by points or lost a majority decision or split decision, then maybe rematch, and you can build from here. But the manner of that defeat, and with it being his first defeat, I don't know. It's got a kind of, it's a rebuilding job, and he's 30. I really wanted to kind of close. He's in the last. You could argue and say he's in the last 2 years of his career, so he's got maybe 3 or 4 fights left, and he only really wants the big fights now, and now he needs to rebuild. So it's like, well, what do you do?
Well, I think a fight like that takes 2 years off you.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. It was horrible at the end. I mean, when he got knocked down in the fourth, I just thought this is going to end horribly. Yeah. And to be fair, he got through it somehow. Like you say, a little Lara's quality lacking. But then when he got in trouble in the ninth, when it was over, I was like, this is going to end horribly, because he was all like this. He was throwing, and I'm just like, he's going to connect clean and he's going to be that. And it was almost like, oh, it's coming. Yeah. And I love boxing, and I love kind of that, but because he's one of ours and he's a nice guy, and you weren't expecting to see it. It was like, oh, it's coming. It's not going to be nice, But it's boxing. That's why we love it. These things can happen.
I actually thought it was a wonderful bit of compassion from Lara. I don't know if you saw at the end of the fight when it got waved off. I mean, that was arguably the win of his career, and has really, he's gate crashed the division. And you usually see people jumping on the ropes and going crazy and everybody jumping in. The first thing he did was somebody needs to look at Josh. You know, you got to try to get the doctors in and try to get, you know, him some attention. I thought that was a really nice touch, actually. But yeah, I guess we'll have to see where it goes from here. Obviously, he'll take some time off as they usually do, and yeah, decide where you go from there. I don't know whether maybe stepping up to the, you know, to super feather might be an option for him. I mean, there's some, I don't know, with the manner of that defeat and against somebody with more class. I have to say that, I mean, it's not the same as Scott Quigg, but Scott Quigg, when he got beat by John O'Carroll, it was almost like you knew Scott Quigg was done with his career halfway through that fight. He just did not look the same. His timing was off, and you know, he called it quits pretty much after.
Don't think you can fight like they fight and have longevity. It's like a bit like Hatton, you know what I mean? They walk through things, and I think you can have a few years doing that, and then days are numbered. And it may just be that I do think we'll see Warrington again, but I think, unfortunately, I think the problem is there's a big dent now in him, and I don't think he can do what he used to be able to do.
Yeah.
I might be wrong, because the 15 months might be more of a factor, but just looking at things, Quigg was another one. He could take damage and kind of come through it, and you know, you can do that for so long, and it just kind of catches up with you. And even if he's just turned 30, it can catch up with you that early. And I know Hatton had a bad lifestyle as well. Still, it's just almost like once that chin, that thing's been dented, you're never the same again. I just don't know how he can fight, and I think the worry is he may have an easy fight to come back with, and he might win that. And then as soon as he gets something decent and starts trading, he might come unstuck again. And he just might never get back to those levels.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, I think that's the way it's going to go. Unfortunately, I think we'll see him twice out, and one will be a loss, and that'll be it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd probably, I'd be inclined to agree with you on that. I hope I'm wrong, but yeah.
Boxing back with a bang anyway. See?
Hang on, my prediction's not too bad. I'm one right and one wrong. I got Ryan Garcia and Luke Campbell right. But yeah, we're both one down on that one. Anyway, talking of predictions, we're going to do. What?
You were right with the rounds, because you said you were right with the rounds, because I think you did say between 6 and 9, but you just got the wrong fighter.
With what? With which one?
Warrington. Pretty sure you said it'll be over between 6. You went a bit later than I did.
Did I? I thought I said it'd win on points. I'll need to see it again. Yeah, I thought I said points, but anyway, incorrect anyway. But yeah, talking of predictions, we'll do one more video. We'll do some predictions on Josh Kelly, David Avanesian, and Otto Wallin against Dominic Brazil, which is happening next week. Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe and share the vids.